Of all the holiday overlays at Disney parks, Disneyland's Nightmare Before Christmas themed Haunted Mansion holiday is easily the most popular, which is an incredible feat. Most people probably don't think about how daunting this must have been for Imagineers, knowing they were risking guest disappointment by temporarily taking away the already beloved Haunted Mansion attraction away for one of their busiest times of the year, and then overlay it based on a movie with a darker theme that many didn't even realize was made by Disney in the first place. Needless to say, the attraction was and is still a massive success. Not only that, but it is the only holiday overlay at Disneyland for which merchandise is sold year-round. I mean, when was the last time you saw Jingle Cruise, Small World Holiday, or Monsters After Dark merchandise around the parks in the spring or summer? Although you'd be hard-pressed to find any Small World Holiday merchandise anywhere at any time of the year, but I digress. However, for all of its fame, it's surprising how little there is online about its rich and interesting history. To be honest, I've had this script written out for almost 2 years, and I just never got around to doing it at the right time of the year. And with the overlay reopening just a few days ago, now is the perfect time. There's no turning back now. So sit back and reflect. Feel free to take pause while I tell you a tale about dear Sandy Claus. 'Twas a long time ago, longer now than it seems, in a place that perhaps you've seen in your dreams. For the story you are about to be told began in a store in 1982 when Tim Burton watched as the employees replaced Halloween decorations with Christmas ones. The juxtaposition made him curious to see what would happen when two holidays collide. It inspired him to write a poem called, I couldn't actually find the official title anywhere, but I like to think it was titled The Nightmare Before Christmas. In my bones, I feel like it was called The Nightmare Before Christmas. Anyway, at the time, Burton was working as an animator for Walt Disney Productions. After the success of Vincent, Tim Burton wanted to create a short film or even a half-hour television special based on his poem. It wouldn't work out until 1990 when he finally scored a development deal with Disney, even though it would be released under Touchstone because Disney worried about it being too dark and scary for kids to be labeled officially as a Disney film. While its initial release brought praise from both critics and the public, it wasn't necessarily a big success, at least not compared to the other Disney films of the Disney Renaissance. It was different than most other animated movies, not only because of its macabre tone, but also because, spoiler alert, by the way, the main character doesn't succeed in what he set out to do, unlike the usual Disney dreams come true pattern that Disney viewers would have expected at that time. That's not to say it wasn't a success, but in 1993, it was not the moneymaker it has become today. So if you haven't seen the movie, or you need a refresher, the film follows Jack Skellington, Pumpkin King and leader of Halloween Town. He has grown tired of the same old Halloween routines and traditions when he stumbles upon a series of doors, each leading to a different holiday. We see representations of Easter, Thanksgiving, and even St. Patrick's Day, but Jack is drawn to the door shaped like a pine tree and donned with colorful ornaments. He opens it, falls through it, Alice in Wonderland style, and discovers Christmastown. He is mesmerized by the snow and fascinated by the jolly and cheery spirit that envelops the whole land, and his face lights up when he sees Santa Claus for the first time. Upon his return home, he calls an immediate town meeting to explain Christmas to everyone. Even when he can't get his fellow Halloween Town citizens to understand his fascination, he decides to make his own Christmas by taking over Christmastown as Sandy Claus himself. Despite his best efforts, kidnapping the real Santa Claus and replacing all Christmas presents with those created by the citizens of Halloween Town did not go over well in Christmas Land. After some failure and self-pity, he perks himself up and hurries back home to save Santa Claus so he can save Christmas. Santa replaces all the bad presents before returning to Halloween Town to give its citizens some real presents, complete with a little snowfall too. After the success of It's a Small World Holiday and the Country Bear Christmas Special, R.I.P., Disney wanted to create another successful holiday overlay on the Haunted Mansion. The original plan was to take the Doom Buggies through a retelling of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, but even though there were ghosts in the storyline with the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, its pure Christmas theme felt incongruent in the spooky New Orleans square. In addition to that, the mansion was set in the 1800s New Orleans, and A Christmas Carol takes place almost 100 years later in London. There needed to be something Christmassy that would also fit in the lively yet eerie atmosphere of the haunted New Orleans building. And what other Disney character would celebrate Christmas in a haunted mansion? Now, some might say when Halloween creates Christmas, you might see a few flaws. But not when Jack Skellington comes to the mansion as Dear Sandy Claus. Jack Skellington was the obvious choice and the only thing that made sense. In fact, a standalone Nightmare Before Christmas attraction was proposed but shelved before the idea of overlaying it over the Haunted Mansion came along. In the movie, Christmastown was not accepting of Jack's attempts to take over the holiday, but the 999 happy haunts are all but dying over the new decorations and lively atmosphere. So the mansion was changed. All was soon covered, adorned, and deranged. But how? Steve Davison, the lead creator of parades and spectaculars for the Walt Disney Creative Entertainment at the time, would be the one to spearhead the development of the overlay. There were several obstacles along the way. Imagineers knew that they would need new voiceovers for some of the characters, especially the ghost host and Madame Leota. They would also need a new face actor for Madame Leota as well. The most obvious issue with that is, well, Paul Frees, the voice of the original ghost host, Eleanor Audley, the original voice of Leota, and Leota Toombs, Disney Imagineer and face actress for Leota, had long passed away. But if anything is true of Disney Imagineers, it's that they will make magic happen and find the perfect and maybe even sentimental ways to do it. Luckily, Disney had already worked on several projects with a voice actor who was actually considered the protege of Paul Frees. His name was Corey Burton. No relation to Tim Burton, though, I checked, even though that would be really cool. He took over as the ghost host, and he did so well that anyone not in the know probably never realized it was the voice of a totally different person. Another talented voice actor named Susan Blakesley took over the voice of Madame Leota, but they needed another face actor for her. Since Disney legend and Imagineer Leota Toombs was the first to portray the character, it only seemed fit that another female Imagineer take over the role for the holiday overlay. But better yet, why not get Imagineer Kim Irvine, daughter of Leota Toombs, to do it? How much more magical and serendipitous can you get? In an interview with the Orange County Registrar, Senior Art Director of Haunted Mansion Holiday, Brian Sandall, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, revealed even more behind-the-scenes details about the making of the overlay. He spoke specifically about signature elements of decorations like the color palette. Imagineers didn't feel like Jack would keep the subdued colors around the Haunted Mansion because Christmas was supposed to be bright and jolly. However, he would still use classic Halloween colors like black, orange, purple, and green. For example, before Haunted Mansion Holiday, black garland wasn't really used, especially when decorating for bright holidays like Christmas. Now you can find black garland almost anywhere. Imagineers applied heat to black pine garland to twist and shape it to form. It was an inexpensive and easy way to combine both holidays. For the characters and scenes, Sandall said that they didn't want to completely copy the film, but still wanted to include some parts that would be easily recognizable, like the man-eating wreath and the snake. Speaking of the snake, it would be impossible to talk about the behind-the-scenes details of the Haunted Mansion Holiday without mentioning the Naughty and Nice list. In the attic, the snake munches on Santa's Naughty and Nice list. Each name listed belongs to somebody on the production staff, or their friends, family, or even their pets. Sometimes when you hear Disney secrets like this that have been told for years and years, you'll wonder if it's actually true. However, this one was revealed by Brian Sandall in the interview, so this one is legitimate. Also, they put the snake on the other side of the attic now. That caught me off guard for sure. It'll be cool to see what they do with the traditional Haunted Mansion with all these changes that they're making during the recent construction. I guess only time will tell. I'm pretty excited. Anyway, the attraction opened on October 3rd, 2001.
It's October 3rd.
And was an immediate success. As previously mentioned, the first ever FastPass kiosks, which had never been used for the Haunted Mansion before, had to be installed to keep wait times down during the holiday season. The success of the new overlay massively increased the popularity of the movie it's based on, which then made the ride more popular, a cycle which seems to continue to this day. This is kind of a fun fact that I really like that I didn't know about before researching for this video. In 2003, Imagineers added Oogie Boogie's Holiday Tricks and Treats scavenger hunt to the attraction overlay. Instead of, or in addition to, looking for hidden Mickeys, guests were encouraged to find little Oogie Boogies hidden throughout the attraction. I personally haven't seen anything about this still being a thing. However, you can still occasionally find little Oogie Boogies hidden in places you wouldn't expect. On Friday the 13th, on the 13th of September, in celebration of its 13th year, the overlay opened with brand new effects and set pieces. In 2016, the new Sally animatronic was added, and that might have been my favorite new addition that I can personally remember. Now we have arrived at the attraction itself. It takes place immediately after the events of the film. A somewhat despondent Jack Skellington discovers the mansion and all of its inhabitants and decides it would be the perfect place to make two holidays collide. He wants to spread creepy holiday joy, and so do the Halloween Town residents. They bring their scary presents to celebrate both holidays with 999 happy haunts. I hope you enjoyed this video all about the Haunted Mansion holiday. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe and click that bell, or a ghost will follow you home. Okay, one more quick fun fact before this video ends. Did you know that the gingerbread house changes every year because that is what Tim Burton requested? That's super fun.